I also want to put it in Slack that says it's central communication. I also have a Word doc with all the just I'll find reference if I need to.
I just like be like late night. Those people you see like it's like kind of half wrapped up. I knew Stark was gonna take Stark. Yeah, you don't know. None of the micro-bets you got. Principality doors and
All right, good morning everyone. Let's go ahead and start today's lecture. Today we have a less audience. I know this is my third Saturday continuous. People might be getting tired. Don't worry, you won't see me for next 3 Saturdays. So people are like dropping off now. All right. So today I'm going to try to wrap this up as quickly as I can, so that I want to give you guys plenty of time to start working. Well, hopefully not start working, continue working on your project. All right. But what I'm going to share today is more like a project management skills. There's nothing technical or coding part today. I want to show you some of the tools that are used out in the industry to manage any project, right? And you guys will go ahead and during the lecture, you will utilize these tools, kind of understand. They will help you kind of task out what you have to do, set a clear goal, what you're trying to achieve, and how much time will it take you to get to that point. Okay? All right, before we begin, in the last class we saw the Git strategy. We started with creating our project. All right, the second thing we did was we protected our master branch, right? So that nobody can push and pull. Well, they can pull, but they cannot push unless the code has been reviewed. Okay. After protecting the master branch, we looked at creating different branches, right? Since our master branch is protected, nobody can push anything to it, right? But there has to be some way that I can move my code to my production ready or master branch. So what we saw is that everybody on the team creates their individual branches, update those branches frequently, right? Commit their code, push their code to their branches. When they are done, what do? They create a pull request, right? What a pull request is, basically you are telling your other team members that I'm ready to merge this code. Can somebody look at it again? Can somebody have a second pair of eyes looking at it, make sure everything I did is good? And then if it is good, you approve that code and then it goes to your master branch. Okay? Always remember, master branch is always considered very sacred, production ready code. Master branch never breaks. Okay? Any breaking code never moves to master branch. Again, that's the ideal situation, but of course in real life it does happen. That's how we get defects. But still, it doesn't matter that people don't take good care of master branch. There are a lot of policies when you're working for a company. Every company has different policies around the production ready code or your master branch. Usually they have like a group of certain team leads or people. They are the only ones who can click that button and it goes to master. Sometimes that ability goes even higher, that they can review it and they can put their approval, but they still cannot merge it, right? Then somebody, a manager or a director, depending on the company size and all that stuff, somebody else is like, okay, I trust these people. Okay, now I'm going to push that button. Now the code is going to go over there. And the reason is, right now you might not see it, but there are a lot of more automated processes. So what happens is when your code goes to your master, there's a lot of automated process that kind of start the process to deploy the web app in the real deal, right? As soon as you push anything to master, there are processes which saying, okay, this is the code that is production ready. Now I'm going to take this code wherever my site is hosted. I'm going to push that code over there, and your site is going to be updated in like less than 5 minutes or something, right? So that's why we need to take care every time we are pushing anything to master. Okay. So we saw that strategy. The strategy was to create a pull request. And when everybody is done with the pull request, the code goes into master, and then you can delete your local branch and start on a new feature. Okay. Now from my class, everybody was able to set up. Any questions before we move on to the new stuff? Yes.
Real quick on that. So you, before you do the pull request, you go through push on the branch end, right? You do your push.
Yes.
And then you do the pull from the master branch.
Right. Exactly. So you push to your local branch. When you're trying to create a pull request, we saw in our class that if there's a merge conflict you haven't pulled from master, GitHub will kind of block it. It will say, hey, there are some conflicts. You cannot push unless you merge from master. So then what you do is, as you are saying, Ford, that you pull from master, merge the code, make sure everything is good now after somebody has pushed to master, and then you go ahead and try to create a pull request again. Okay? Any other questions? All right. So some of the project management tools, there's a branching PDF. You guys can take a look at it if there are more questions. But basically, those are the commands: commit, merge, push, pull. Those will take care of the project. Okay. So some of the project management strategies that I'm going to show you today is actually used on a lot of companies. They have different names for it, but bottom line is that the concept and everything is kind of similar. Okay, the first thing is the word MVP, or more like a abbreviation, MVP. So in software terms, MVP means minimum viable product. It is also the most abused word in software also. And I'll tell you what I mean. So MVP means minimum viable product. What it means is that when you decide on a project, you come with a set of tasks or set of properties. Like, this is the minimum thing I need to do to make my project like production ready. Okay. For example, let's suppose you are making Instagram. Okay. When I talk about Instagram, right, what would be my minimum viable product? So this minimum viable product is a project that is a minimum requirement to get this thing up and running. Okay. So minimum viable product from Instagram would be that I, as a user, I just want to upload my picture and it shows up on my website. That is it. That's the bare minimum, right? What do you do in Instagram? You just post pictures, and there are a few more things. But the bottom line, the minimum product that you want this to start is ability to post a picture. Okay? That's what's called a minimum viable product. And this will get you out of the door. This is something that you can pitch to an investor or somebody who's kind of funding your project, and they can be like, okay, I mean, I see it, and this is your main goal. Everything around this is all fluff. Like, for example, liking a post. Let's suppose Instagram has that heart button. It's not a really minimum viable product. I mean, we can always go back and add this, but if you don't have this capability, your whole product, your whole basis of your product kind of goes down, right? If this is not working, nothing else over here matters, right? Next thing would be adding captions or hashtags, right? Captions. Again, this is also, I wouldn't consider this also as a minimum viable product, right? MVP. Why? Again, if I cannot even post my picture and nobody can see it, none of these kind of matter, right? But again, what I meant was this is the most abused thing in software is that you're given a project and somebody is investing in it, right? What in our terms we call them business. Like there's a department, business department. They have a lot of money, and they're like, well, I want something to be automated. I want this project to be done. And then they come to the IT department and they're like, well, this is my budget, right? And I want you guys to build this for me. Okay. And then, we try to explain, okay, what is MVP? What is the absolute thing that you need, right? When you ask the business, they're like, well, I want to post a picture also. I want the captions also. I want the heart also. I want a few more things. Everything is MVP for me, right? So that's where the trouble begins, right? It's kind of hard to train people to understand what's, well, I'm paying the money, right? Give me this also, this also, this also, So you have to come up with, try to explain people, okay, what I'm saying is that within this time frame, what is a minimum requirement that without this thing, nothing is going to work. Okay. Again, it's a easy topic to understand, easy topic to kind of follow through, but it's a very difficult topic to implement. You will see departments fighting over what an MVP means because it means different to everybody. To me, MVP is just post a picture. If I cannot even do this, nothing else matters. But somebody who's paying the money, to them, the MVP is this, and also have a like button, also have a caption, also have see friends and all that stuff. Okay. So before we try to examine some of the MVP for your projects that you guys are working on, any questions on this? It's more like a concept thing. A question? So I want you guys to kind of, well, first of all, are we sitting in teams yet? No. So you'll have to get up and move around. Discuss with your teams, not other teams. Hopefully, but the other team would be like a business to you guys and be like, no, this is not an MVP. Add this stuff also. Okay. So we will go through your project with your team and kind of determine what is the MVP. Like without this, and nothing else would actually matter. If we can't even get this done, and this would be something that you guys focus on. And at the end of 2 weeks, at least this MVP, you should be able to deliver the MVP. Okay? And then you guys should be like, okay, if we are able to do this, then we are going to work on something else. Okay? Even before we start the group project, I'll cover one more thing. And this will help you guys to kind of think in the right direction. Okay? All right. Any questions on the MVP? Everybody kind of understands the concept? Okay? Yes.
You say at the end of the week you should have MVP?
At least the MVP done.
I thought it has to be completely done.
No, it has to be completely done.
Okay.
No, you have to, again, okay, I take that back. The whole project has to be done, but I'm saying that, you will realize that some projects kind of get stuck and they're not even, you'll be surprised how many teams cannot even deliver if I say MVP. Right? Even getting to there is a task for some teams, right? It depends on the skill set and what APIs have been chosen and how much time has been going into this project, right? Again, you have to complete the project. Ideally, MVP, today is Saturday, maybe like by next, Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, you should be able to at least complete the MVP. That at this point your base, your foundation is there, and everything else after that is you're going additions to your website.
We talk about milestone, project milestone.
For project milestone, yeah. So MVP would be a project milestone for you.
Do the frills last?
What is it? Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes.
Do we have like access to boot camps and use it? Project management. I know you guys probably spent $20, so release something. So
Yeah, no, I'm going to show you. Actually, you don't even have to go there. GitHub has a project management tool, and I'll cover that. Yeah, and how do you get to MVP? I'll show you the tools. Again, these tools are there, but you have to get your whole team to start using. You will see it's very difficult for developers to kind of get organized and tell them what tasks to do. I'm bad at that at my work too. So that's why we have a designated what we call a Scrum Master. I'll go over the term if you don't know. So she is kind of responsible for keeping track that, you know, you are logging your time or the task you're working on, you are on it, and then, you know, you are kind of moving it around. If it is done, you know, you are saying, okay, this is done. I need to pick this one and do it. What usually we do is we just start working on something, never update the process. It bugs the other people where, well, you know, don't disturb me. I want to start my coding. But, you know, these processes are there for a reason. It kind of helps you. I have realized over the course of time that, you know, they kind of make you more organized. Okay. So the second part is creating the task. Now, how do you create a task, let's suppose on the Instagram website? Okay. You'll follow the same strategy. The template that we usually follow is, as a user, you start your task saying as a user, right? As a user, what do I want to do, right? So as a user, I want to upload a picture. That's your task. So you'll say, as a user, do something, okay? And then the next sentence is, why? So that something else happens. That's usually the template. So as a user, I want to post a picture so that I can share it with everybody else. Okay, and again, this is mostly in like a simple, normal English language term. No coding term. You see, I never use anything related to coding in this task, right? These tasks are more from the user perspective. Okay, think about a persona that whoever is going to use your website, what are they going to be doing with your website? Okay, think of that terms. The second one that we have over here is I want to be able to, or the second one could be, let's suppose I want to add a caption, right? So what would be the task for this? This would be, as a user, I want to add captions to my picture so that I can organize them, something like that. Okay. And in our software terms, these tasks are called user stories. Anybody who has never heard this word user stories? Okay. Just kind of bother you guys when I say user stories? Stories. When I first heard I was stories, you know, I had a different concept when it comes to stories. I'm like, these are stories. So everybody said, oh, these are now not tasks, these are your stories. It kind of took me some time to wrap my mind around that term. But these are, basically these are tasks, but in our terms, the methodology that we are using, these are called user stories. So basically user is telling a story. That's what it is. So the user is saying, hey, I want to do this so that I can do this. I want to be able to do this so that I can do this. Okay, that's why these are called user stories. All right. So I want you guys to, first of all, well, get with your team, then kind of walk through your project and come up with some of the MVP questions. Answer these questions so that everybody on the team is on board. I know that last week when we were doing, last couple of days ago when we were doing the proposals, you know, a lot of good discussions, but you know, even the team members among themselves were confused. Oh, am I doing this? When I ask somebody what the project is, somebody tells me different, and when I ask the other person within the same team, they thought something different. You know, so this will kind of mitigate some of those, so that everybody on the team is on board. They know what they're doing. The next step is create like 3 to 5. I would say 5 is the ideal. Create 5 user stories after you're done with your MVP. So these are basically, again, your task. What are you going to do? 3 to 5. 5 is the best, but for some reason, if you cannot reach 5, at least 3. Okay? All right. Any questions before we break and then do this activity? All right. So let's go ahead, sit with your team, and we'll take like 15 minutes and come up with these with this plan.
Yeah. He's always has a good graders.
It's always on like updated or something.
We gotta get right.
So,
Thanks for noticing.
What?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, really. He has this.
So, our MVP, should have 5 users. So it's 5.
3 to 5. 5 is good. 3 is the minimum requirement.
And that should be our MVP.
Oh, so MVP is
MVP first.
and then once you have your questions answered, then you go ahead and create tasks or the user stage. As a user, what do you want to do with your project? All right, as a user, think of me when you give me your project. What do you expect that I will be able to do?
The tail to unfold.
Tell
The tail to unfold for our user.
story, yep.
So, story number 1 is in here.
So yours were it wasn't the museum one. Oh, you guys went to the go night, the night one.
Yes. We're gonna do it better than the other one.
Oh yeah, I told you right. Yeah, that team has the same one.
Hashtag better. So I don't think MVP is a story.
No.
Our MVP is the minimum viable functionality. Yeah, correct. But it is going to be a story because the user is going to want to type in the event keyword or locality keyword and get a result. I think you can play stories is like one of those things I've tried out here. Like, so as an example, it's like as a user, I want to post a picture that I can share.
Please forget I ever said
Get results from websites using the APIs that we display those and then allow the user to select and then is that minimum? I think minimum is type in a search we want to be able to have them check out. We want to be able to have them cycle through and choose. But minimum make them okay, yeah. Type in the search have the right. Yeah, now we want much more than because you have a finished concept, a finished product. In your head, A to Z makes sense, but A to C, or A to B is really you have no idea. Our API works and it shows us. Type in the search, get a result. Cycle through and choose from the result. Go to the shopping cart, checkout. We'll use the term checkout when we create a summary and have the users complete their summary. Maybe add a calendar to schedule. Maybe, I don't know. This could be ridiculously simple, and then we're totally our thoughts going more involved. But some tells me we're going to be just fine.
We haven't really fleshed out.
Okay. So user stories I'll go with step one. So if we're looking at the user stories themselves right there, so you have to use files up top. So like as a user, I want to find things on you. So it's a little
like you said, someone's personality
things
trying
to
to
you.
flesh out with
Again,
too far.
somewhere.
Other than that,
You don't need a lot of time like a text. Yeah, you get a
I want to see
write it down.
So you can search by beer festival, or you can search by city, and either find the place that the activity is or what events are in a specific account. Yes.
What is your
Alright, so we want to find things that are around us. I think another one might be I want to share. Maybe that's
What I'm trying to think about is like how are the images, like how are the images?
you chose to go to your festival.
Right.
Have a way to broadcast it on your
Or
own.
think about what you're doing. It has to tell me that you are deciding other than you can experience by oh, this is what you like to have. But right now, eventually I'm going to have
I want to talk about movie 10 or
I think I should be able to play this right now.
I wanted that.
Right, that's the reason. You should be able to, I should be able to live
And I don't think you're necessarily wrong in the way that I understand it. User stories are why they
and then go and search something and that's there.
That's how
Your
I
mind is the writing app. So that's not your product. The product is not for you. That's how yeah.
As usual, you get to organize my time.
What organize is that your product? That's what I'm if you think that's your
no, we got 0. We had some tests, Daniel.
yeah.
We were just like we were having a little issue on next week I want to view I want to view what is to do a search and view results. That is the
That's the bare minimum that our site will show. Successful. The minimum is successful. Somebody types in a search, they can work.
yeah, they type in yogurt, events and yogurt. I think straightforward.
And then the stories would
Target audience, specific music club, specific
what the customer,
right?
person using our site wants out of the site. So what answer they are sacrificing to their needs.
That's what it
Is this something that they get? Obviously we're not
What is it that you think regarding this? Like,
Do you think people will want to specifically go nighttime or daytime? If they do, then absolutely. If we think that's what people go through, I don't know.
I'll website I know.
So,
Sometimes specific audience.
especially if they're
So we say night out, we're not going to get to the
yeah, no,
I'm just trying to come to the thing. If we say night out, why am I
so what other desires are people that come to our site?
So we have, what do we have right now?
All right, I'll go over it. As a user, I want things to do around here or a location. As a user, I want to be able to share events that I participate in. As a user, I want to be able to organize my time.
Yeah, that is something that we do like.
As a user, no, but that is a great concern. As a user, I want to be able to safely get to I want
However, we'll have a lot of
reconsideration, whether it's designated ride share, the freaking light rail schedules, whatever. That's great. I was thinking about
ride share and they can have so you guys think about this one right here.
Easily make reservations. As a user, I want to easily make reservations. Or whatever, like get tickets or whatever.
registration. I think we might have eked out every single thing on our website just with those boxes.
I'm sure we can put a tutu on it, dance, box of hair or something.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, box of hair.
Working on box of the bear. Okay. Well, that's good because we got 58 seconds. So, the heart of our site is actually pretty simple. There's a lot of micro steps involved, and a lot of shite we put on it. The heart of it It's pretty straightforward. Let's go. Give us a It does. It looks like that. You're not reaching on these two are going to play hard coding players. They're going to be hard coding the front and watching it go and make it better. So I want relocating action. Yeah. And then you give us a different one. It could be floating. Click on it, it's going to flatten the thing.
Where is it? Trying to stop the timer.
You let that be. Okay. It makes me too.
Okay, where is it?
You guys have 5 user stories?
I think we had to stretch to get 5.
You have the 5 user stories?
That's okay. Because you have to have an account.
Yes. Yeah, because I wouldn't be able to put it in the
All right, so does everybody have 3 to 5 user stories? You guys good? Good? All right, so now I'm going to show you where to store those user stories. Right now you have handwritten user stories. I'll show you how to do it in GitHub, like create a project management tool that GitHub has, and we're going to put our user stories over there so that everybody on the team can go ahead and see it. So let me go ahead and actually create a... So you guys are not going to do this step. You guys probably already have your project. Oh, I like this. Improved Octo change. Okay, I'm going to use this now. GitHub is suggesting, so it must be right. Improved Octo change your project. All right. So you're on your main page of your project, and then you will see this tab called Issues. Okay, and this is where all your user stories that you have created will go and reside. So I'm going to create a new issue. All right. Let me give you the format so that you guys, let me slide this out.
You blow that up a little bit.
Okay, so this is how the format looks like. I put it on Slack. GitHub has, these are called kind of like the templates. If you look into your preview tab after typing this, kind of looks nicer. So if you want a bold font, you need to put 2 hashtags. If you want a list, then this is the this is called a markdown. Again, you can use the exact same template that I posted on Slack. Just copy paste over here, and then you can modify these things. Okay, basically if you go into preview, that's how it looks like. It creates a checkbox and then a nice little description and all that stuff. Okay, so let me go back and pull the user story that I'm actually working on. So let's go ahead and do this one. I want to post my pictures. So you guys have 3 to 5, so you're going to create a user story and then acceptance criteria. The acceptance criteria means that when this task, how do I know this task or this user story is done? Okay, how do I know? This is what you're going to put over here. So how would I know that this thing is complete? I have a place in HTML file to upload a picture. Okay, and it could be one, it could be more than one. However many acceptance criteria it takes you to make sure that this story is done. So what is going to happen is, not every user story you are going to be working on, right? You have a team of 4 or 5 people, everybody is working on a different one. But as a team, you need to come to a conclusion that whoever is working on this user story, unless these things are done, this story cannot be considered as complete. Okay, so my second would be I am able to successfully upload a picture. Okay, so my user story again was that my website should have the ability to post pictures that everybody can see. And how would I know that this is done? When, in my HTML I have a place where I can upload a picture. First of all, if there's no place, I won't be able to upload a picture. Then once I have that place, I'm able to successfully upload a picture. Okay, now what this can be anything that means more to you. You could add how do I verify the previous one? I am able to see the picture data in my Firebase DB. Okay, how do I ensure that this picture has been uploaded successfully? The best way is go to your backend and see if the picture is actually present in your Firebase. Okay, so these things, I think if I'm able to complete this, I can say, okay, this particular task is complete. Okay, so this is how the template goes. Again, I have posted this. Once you are done, let's see, upload pictures. Now the title could be anything. It could be just a description. You will see when you're working on a project outside this, they have like a numbering scheme. Usually they have alphanumeric identifier that kind of tells you which story you're working on. Okay, it again depends on what you have. It could be project 1, task 1. Okay, so the next time you create a user story, you will say project 1, task 2, task 3, task 4. Yes.
So is this part of industry what they call agile development?
Exactly. Yep. I'll come to that in a minute, but you're right. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. So you go ahead and create submit new issue, and then your user story is there. Okay. Let me do one more. So you guys are going to follow the same. So I have a template that is on Slack. So I just start with that. I copy that. I'll create my next story. As a user, I want to be able to search. Okay. Okay. I have a search box visible on the website. Okay. And then I get back user information as search results. Okay, something that kind of makes me understand, okay, this story will be marked complete. So I'm using project 1, this will be task 2 dash search search other users. Okay. Again, you don't have to follow this strategy at all. It's just for me. I mean, I like to kind of group everything together so that once you're working on a next project, you will know, okay, this task was assigned to that project. Let's go ahead and submit this. And now I should have 2 issues over here. Okay. So this is how you create issues. So we'll take 10 minutes, just whatever you have written. The template is on Slack. Copy that template and create issues. Now again, start with the issues that you did for MVP. And if you want to go beyond, again, your issues or user stories can be 5, 10, 15, as much as you want. Okay, so create those, all of them over here, and then we'll go on to the next part. Yes? Exactly, yeah. You can divide these stories as small. I would suggest keep it as small. But yes, divide into back and front end. Excellent. I want to research the API. That's another task. I would say start with one person. That's the ideal. That what can one person can I complete this story? If not, if one person cannot complete this, break it down. How can I make sure that one person is able to complete it? That's a really good point. Yeah, excellent.
Doing breakdown, them creating search buttons in search terms. Okay, us create API calls and database. So that'll be too early to get started. Yeah, so we'll
Yeah. No. I prefer to use, since we're having a lot of stuff just always in flux, I feel like now that's just so the less we have to hard code in the HTML, the less we need to worry about. Yeah. This is how I've been doing all my projects. I think so. I think yeah, this doesn't have to be a one. I treat this as like this is especially at the very beginning. Once you load the pictures, or once you load the website, and then from there we can just manipulate it. And probably have it using like the .mz, then a pen over HTML. The only thing I have in HTML that I need
so for trying to convert these to so as a user, I want to share the best what would go into making this. Search button.
This doesn't have numbers. Then Facebook does have like Facebook does have like a share function, share API. Just like I think it's supposed to be. Let me just look into that really quick. Yeah. A share button. Okay. Because you know those like shared window, the little share window, every website. Just got all of
What
those.
does it take to make a little share window?
So we need
That's what I want to look at.
Yeah, we get results. This story is not happening.
when I choose a show,
Okay, so
but you wouldn't have to save that though. You wouldn't have to save it. Or keep track of it.
you have to account for it though. So generate HTML, JavaScript, jQuery for share buttons.
Alright, so that's
Facebook, Twitter, what was this type?
another set of eyes on it, but it's
That is, right, so it becomes just a, you change the title. Okay.
Click it, is it just like,
But if you want to change it,
Well, I was thinking that could be.
I'm just trying right now. So instead of Project Podcast, when it should read, or instead of MVP, it should be Project Podcast.
Like that. You would say that.
so you have to have a whole lot of
As a user, want to organize my time.
Okay, yeah. So if you want to change the title, just add a button.
Right, and looks like it's
So, acceptance criteria for organizing my time. What was the acceptance criteria? So, is that using So is that the only thing that we need to do with that?
I just got an error in the mail right before I come. I was
Or
like,
do we want an option for them to use it, like a checkbox on the website? Link to my calendar?
Or it just share, yes. safe to my mind.
Some people don't want all the
So I decided to forego that. One like this, like they're made for science.
Yes. And you can see us here at channel. Yeah, so copy paste that and we'll kind of make a nice little checkbox. Yes, yes.
I'm kind of picking up looks like it's a little bit early.
Is that just all the way to calendar works? So, like what steps would we use to get to be able to safely get through from the show that's
I'm not quite. I have looked into that story at all. Like, it would be like I would imagine that you would have to provide like a departure time. So like when you want to leave. Come on! I don't know what the right. So for that, it would be minimum. It would be I'm able to schedule
that blog is the scope. We might not want
Yeah, this isn't that
so we have to think about all the topics.
All right, let's do the last activity and then we'll move on to the project work. All right, so at this point I have my issues created. All my user stories are in my GitHub now. Okay, I can see this and all my user stories are there with the acceptance criteria and I can start working on. But they're still kind of lying in the issues section. There's a better way to arrange this also. Okay, so in today's world, you will hear these words a lot: Agile, Scrum, Kanban. All right. So basically, this is a software development methodology. You use this methodology to complete a project. Now, before this strategy, there was one more called waterfall. I'm just throwing these keywords out there. So in this strategy, what used to happen is that the business or whoever is funding the project would come to you and explain the project to you. All right? They'll be like, oh, I want this, I'm envisioning something like this. Right? They would communicate, they would talk to you, you will create some documents, kind of MOU kind of stuff, like you understand, okay, this is the commitment, and then you give them a timeline. You are saying, all right, and I will deliver this in 6 months. Right? And then there is no contact at all. You both forget for 6 months. 6 months come, funding is done, they run out of money, and they're like, hey, where's my product? And you come back and what happens? You give them a product. They're like, well, this is, and they're like, what? No, that's not what I asked. Who remembers what they asked in 6 months, right? A lot has changed during the 6 months. So this was the strategy. It was super popular, and all the softwares, they used to follow this. I'm not saying this is a bad one necessarily. I'm giving you an extreme example. But this is what used to generally happen, that, they would fund you and they won't talk to you until the deadline. So I won't say recent times, maybe like 10 years, this has been more popular. A lot of companies are now shifting and have shifted to this kind of strategy. What this says is that we won't deliver a product in 6 months. We will actually deliver in like 2 weeks. Now people are like, what? Instead of 6 months, I have to deliver the product in 2 weeks. So what happens is you divide your 6 months project into 2 weeks milestones, basically. Yes, it's not delivering the whole project. So you say in 2 weeks, I can do this. And after 2 weeks, you actually show it to your customer. You make it production ready. The site is actually live. And you say, okay, this is what I did in 2 weeks. And then you have a meeting at the end of 2 weeks and you show it. What happens is you can see what's the advantage. Kind of takes this thing out and they can actually see if this is the right direction. At this point, they can change and they can say, oh, well, you know what? Now that I look at it, I don't think this is going to work. I had something else in mind. So I'm going to kind of change these boxes. Instead of 3 on the top, I just want 2 on the top. Okay, what happened? You didn't waste any time. You kind of worked on it for 2 weeks. Now this changed, so you come back over here and then you modify your plan for the next 2 weeks. Okay, and then you make those changes, you kind of come up with a plan, and then you go back and show them at the end of the next 2 weeks, and they're like, well, yeah, this is looking better. Now I want 2 at the bottom too, right? Whatever the plan is, you kind of go back and keep changing it. All right. So what happens is at the end of the 6 months, they can actually see what they're paying for also. It kind of builds a goodwill. Developers and business and also QAs, I'll come to QAs, they have always been in a fight. I have never worked at a company where there's like, business thinks we are lazy and we think the business doesn't know anything. They're like this kid sitting at a computer just typing in. So to improve that relationship, this thing, if this is implemented correctly, unfortunately, a lot of companies implement it incorrectly, and you will see. Well, I won't go there, but you will see bad versions of it. But if it is implemented ideally, what it says, it actually works really well. Okay. So you will hear the word agile. That's kind of umbrella of this methodology. Within agile, we have different kind of strategies. The most popular one is called Scrum. Scrum is, I think, comes from the rugby. When they're like in American football, they're like huddling together. That's where the Scrum word comes on. So the team kind of huddles around what we are going to deliver in 2 weeks. Okay. These 2 weeks are called sprints. Now, again, 2 weeks is not like a hard set 2 weeks date. Some people, it depends on the company, it depends on the team. Some people have 4 weeks also. That also works. You want to keep it short. Now, our whole project is 2 weeks, right? Can we have a 2 week sprint? No, we cannot have a 2 week sprint. That would be going back to waterfall and delivering the whole project. So be smart about it. If you have a 2 weeks project, how do you divide your sprints? So how many days? Like 10 days? Okay. If you want 2 sprints, you can do 5 and 5. I still think 2 is still relatively too small. I would divide into further. You could do like 3, 3, 3. 3-day sprint. So you have to do how many? What can I accomplish as a team in 3 days? All right. At the end of the 3rd day, you go back and then you start the task that you can deliver in the next 3 days, then next 3 days, right? Even if you want shorter, 2, 2, 2, make it 2 days. What can I do in 2 days? I'm going to research on my API, and this is my user story. I have to go and look up, let's say, Spotify API. Okay, so I'm going to go, my user story is, as a user, I'm going to go and research. I want to see how to use the Spotify API. All right, my tasks are, my acceptance criteria is I'm able to successfully call the Spotify API. I'm successfully able to get the results back. All right, 2 weeks. I'm going to work on that story for just like 2 days. That's it. If I'm not able to accomplish this, I'm going to come to my team and I'm going to discuss, hey, I researched and we are running into these issues. At this point, you have the advantage or something that do we shift, do we continue for the next 2 days? Or at this point, we want to call it quits and we don't have time to research more. Let's find a better music API that's more easy to use. All right. Again, I've seen people spending 2, 4, 6, 8 a day, and then they come to me and they tell me, you know what, Spotify is not working out. Like, all right, well, you have 2 days to fix something else and deliver a project. And people have done it, but it's stressful, right? We have only so much time, and people get a lot. And you will see, we'll see a lot of group working on the last like 3 days and try to. It works out fine, but you know the stress that goes in, I can't even imagine. Okay, so starting fresh, you know, I would suggest do like 2 days and have a realistic goal in mind. Not the whole, I'm going to research, I'm going to write, I'm going to complete the whole Spotify in like 2 days. Still unrealistic. More realistic is, you know, I research, I have good knowledge, I am the SME. SME means subject matter expert. I am the SME in the team that knows how to use Spotify by the end of 2 days, right? If team has any question, they're going to ask me and I should be able to answer, right? But if at the end of the second day, I'm not successful, it's not a failure. It's just like, you know, we don't have time. This is the budget and this is the time that has been given to you, all right? You have to accomplish this task in this budget and this time, all right? At this point, the team will pivot, either continue, again, it's a team decision, or the team says, hey, you know what, let's find another music API that's maybe relatively easier to use. Or maybe we kind of switch around and do something a little bit different, try to find something different that will come in our MVP goals. Okay, so these are the, I would just, you know, just write it down and remember these keywords. You will hear them a lot once you're working somewhere. The next one is Kanban. Again, it's the same strategy. This is a more like a visual thing. So Kanban comes from Japanese company Toyota. They are the ones who started this thing. So what they did was, it's a manufacturing plant. They kind of streamlined their project, like how the cars are manufactured. It's basically like an assembly line. Like you don't want to crowd one assembly line a lot. You want to make sure that each point in your assembly line is equally or ideally distributed, that nobody is waiting or nobody has too much work. Okay, so the word Kanban kind of comes from there, but in our terms, it just means that I have a visual project board where I can see all my tasks. That's what Kanban is for us. So we are going to create a Kanban board, and all the user stories that you have written are going to be in columns. Okay, what are these columns? This is like an assembly line. So you have 3 columns. The first one is called backlog. Now in the activity or in the exercise, you will see the word icebox instead of backlog. To be honest, I have never heard that word. You know, I have always heard backlog. I have never heard the word icebox, to be honest. So what backlog means, that these are all my user stories that I'm going to do at some point, right? This could include MVP first and then all the fluff after. But at some point, I want to do these user stories, and they go in your backlog. They start new in your backlog column. Okay, Now when my sprint starts, let's suppose my sprint starts today, all right? I create a column called in progress. And then the team members go into the backlog, look into the Kanban board, and they say, oh, I'm going to work on this story. They assign the story to themselves and mark and put it in progress. Okay? Somebody's working on this one, somebody's working on this one, somebody pick this one. Okay? Now, the last column is called done. Now, when the team member is done with their story, they kind of move it to done. Simple. Now, what this does is when you come back and look at your Kanban board, you can actually see what's going on, who's working on what, and how many things are still left. So I'm done over here. I can go back. Let's suppose I completed my story in like 1 day. And my sprint ends in 2 days. So I still have 1 more day. So I can go back, pick this one, start working on it, and then try to see if I can get this done. Okay? It kind of helps not stepping on each other's foot also. So when you have this nicely written down, everybody is clear on it, you won't work on the same task like 2 people are working on the same task. All right? Now, the task, the user stories, I would highly suggest you break it down in such a way that 1 person can work on it, just 1 person. All right? If it just takes you an input box to put on the screen, right? Make it a user story and assign it to somebody who can just go and update this code and then mark it done. Now, again, what is done? I put this input box. This is still in my branch. I pull the master, I push this code to master, and now everybody can see. That's when I will say my story is done, right? I did it, everything in my local, everything works fine. I pushed it to my local branch, and I moved my story to done. Is that correct? It's not correct. So why is it not correct? Because nobody can see this, what I did. I have to make sure that my code is good, it's working in master. Anybody who goes into the website can actually see what I did. Okay? So make sure that you are done, you code review with your peers, and then you say, okay, my story is done when it is approved by everybody in the team.
So,
yes.
Question. When you update the master and say the code doesn't work, so is it like version control where you can back out?
Yes. Then what you do is you back out that code and try to fix it. Or remember, if you're creating our feature branches, you create a bug branch and say, I'm trying to fix a bug. So Randy fixing a bug and whatever that bug description is, create a new branch, fix your bug, and then push it to master again. That'll be easier one. I know master is broken now. It's going to be broken for a few hours, so everybody on the team is going to all hands on deck now, right? Master cannot be broken. So everybody is going to come, create a branch, and try to see why it is broken, what was the bug fix it as soon as possible, and then update your master and make it working again, right? At this point, everything kind of gets on hold. You have to make sure that your production never goes down, all right? So yeah, you create a new branch, fix it, then push it to master, make it working. All right. Okay, so now how do we do this in GitLab? You go into instead of issues, you go into your project tab, and then they have a nice visualization that you can create your project tab. This is called
GitLab.
Sorry, GitHub. I'm sorry. Did I say GitLab? Okay. GitHub. Chainsaw project. I have no idea why it suggested Octo Chainsaw. Okay, now in your template, we are working on Kanban, so you're going to select automated Kanban. It's going to create a nice board that I just showed you over here. Okay, so go ahead and create an automated Kanban board, and then it shows up all these columns over here. Okay, now you can use the to-do column. It's same as the backlog, or you can also create a new column and then call it backlog. Okay, and then backlog should be before in progress. Okay, and then you can create a column. Then I would move this. Okay. I'm going to delete this column. I don't want GitHub telling me what I can do. All right. So, oops. Project. Okay, that's better. Okay, so I created a column. Again, column is at the end. Create a column and put it over here. Now, my backlog has all my user stories. So, if you go click Add Cards, the issues that you just created, you will be able to see all the issues are over here. Okay. Again, I created this column with Add Column, and then you will see Add Cards. Click Add Cards, and it will show you the user stories that you just created. So I can just drag, drop, and put it in my backlog. These are the stories that I'm going to eventually work on. Okay. So I am on this lane now. All right. My sprint started. Now somebody picked this task. So it is now in progress. Click the story. At the bottom you will see assignees. So please make sure whoever is working on it, assign it to yourself. Okay. When you put the drop down, you can see all the people on your teams, the collaborators in this project. You will be able to see their name. Anybody can assign this story. All right. So let's suppose somebody says, oh, this person is going to work on this. This person is going to work on this. So you assign it to them. And that's it. No saving, nothing. Close this. And now you will see that person's name, whoever is working on that. Okay. Once again, click the story. It will pop up nicely over here. At the bottom, scroll down. You will see assignees. Assign that story to the person who's going to be working on it. Okay.
What did you click? Come up on the right?
The story, just the issue.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. And then once this is done, I will just move it to done. Okay. Now this gives you an idea that my team is working on these tasks. These are the ones that are pending that have not been yet started. These are the ones that somebody is working on, and then these are the ones that is done. Okay. Again, this board is called Kanban, and you would go into your GitHub, go into projects, create a new project, and then it will give you by default 3 columns. You can use the to-do column, or you can create a new column with add column and kind of move it ahead. Okay. All right. Any questions? Kind of getting an idea?
So, wait,
yes.
That means backlog, like when you create everything, put it in backlog. And
yes.
Right when you start working on
yes.
it, put it in progress.
Then you put it in progress. Everything should be born in your backlog, basically. Everything over here is something that your team is going to work. Again, this could be more than MVP. All right. I could have captions. I could have all my user stories that I can think. Right? And then I'm going to work on it. Okay. You guys will work on this. Before this, I'll complete one more activity, and then I'll tell you the next steps. All right. This is called, and you will hear this a lot. You will hear the word called ceremonies. When it comes to agile or Scrum methodologies, there are few meetings. We call them ceremonies. The most important one is called stand-up. A stand-up meeting is something that happens at the beginning of the day around 8:30, 9, whenever your team decides. I'm telling you the life of a developer. All right. So when I go in, we have our stand-ups at 9 o'clock. What we do is we go into a conference room and everybody literally just stands up, and you have to answer 3 questions. What did I do yesterday? What am I going to do today? Do I have any impediments? Do I have any impediments? Impediments means that I'm kind of stuck on this task. I need help. Basically a cry for help. All right, you do this every single day. We have to go through this every single day, and it is supposed to be really short, really sweet. This is not a status update. This is you are sharing with the team that what's going on. Again, we saw this thing, right? In progress, you can see over here. But what usually happens is people are stuck on some issue or an impediment, and nobody talks about it until the sprint is over, right? So this way, you share with your team, what did you do yesterday? What am I going to do today? This is what I'm going to accomplish today, right? Do I have any issues, any impediments? If not, we move on, all right? Again, this meeting should not last more than 15 minutes. For you guys are 4 or 5, maybe like 5 minutes. Just stand up, see these things, and move on, right? When somebody says an impediment or an issue, you don't start discussing right there and then. You let the whole team go around and complete these things. And then you make a note of who said they have an issue. When the stand-up is complete, these things are complete, then you ask that person who has the issue, hey, who do you want right now? Don't waste everybody's time. That happens a lot. I hate that. There is a team of 8 people, and only 2 need to discuss an issue, and the whole team is just it. I really hate meetings. I cannot even tell you that. I'm like, why am I even sitting over there? I walked out of meetings and people think it's true. I'm like, no, do you need me? No, then okay, goodbye. Let me know if you need me, right? So please don't waste everybody. If in a team of 4 people, you only need to discuss this issue with one person, tell that, oh, I'm going to talk to you, and please rest. Let everybody else go and start working on their tasks. But if you need the whole team, then okay, you can keep the whole team hostage over there in your meeting. Okay? Again, stand up. Please go through these. Do not discuss your issue until the stand-up is over. Right? When the last person goes on, everybody says, oh, is the stand-up over? Yes, it's over. Okay. Who do you need to resolve this issue? I need this person. Okay, you guys go and discuss it. Everybody else goes back to work. Okay? Let's do this. Let's do it right now as a practice round. So everybody is going to stand up as a team. You are going to tell your team, you're going to go around within your team. You're going to say what you did yesterday. Again, related to the project. I don't want you to see what you were doing yesterday. What is your plan for today? What are you going to accomplish from your Kanban board today? And are you having any issues? Just do that. All right. If anybody has any issues, then stay back and then discuss with your team. Do this 5 minutes, and then we'll have an ending last notes, and then I'll tell you what you do next.
I just anyway. Especially Blair, like, it's almost like we're on the same team. All right, team lead. Lead us up. All right. So yesterday. So when we talked about yesterday, do we name it yesterday?
No, whatever last time. All
right, last time we all worked on this. We just brainstorm with the idea. We come up with a whole bunch of guides we're going to be using.
And as soon as you're done, please sit down so I know who is done.
I started working on getting the very first page that you see, I started getting work on.
Any impediments? Except for maybe the last 10 minutes.
Ditto. I started going in the wrong direction because I started looking at the first page that we thought it was going to be. So that's not
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Get back on track. All right.
So what is your plan?
On track and probably look for some deliverables that I need to work on. Because I'm kind of started so if they think that I can get first,
Yesterday, the plan was to research functionality, see what kind of data we can pull.